Okay, we have all heard many references over the last few days, actually, on the world we want. It keeps coming back, this little phrase pops up and pops up and pops up, and it was the one that actually captured us all, I believe, at Rio. We were all running around, singing that in some ways. Well, Ravi Kankara is an expert advisor on children and youth and global partnerships of the UN Millennium Campaign and UN Habitat in New York. However, he is also the co-chair of the World We Want 2015 and vice president of IAAI. And he is our last speaker before we have a Q&A, because Ravi kind of sums it all up.
Thank you very much, and it's a great honor to be here and to be the vice president. Really, thank you very much. I have a very deep reflection because, I was having a conversation with a colleague. She's working for a foundation working on non-discrimination in Mexico City. And we started talking about MDGs, and she said, you know what, I was there. I said, where? She said, the Millennium Summit at the UN in 2000. I said, so what happened? She said, after the Millennium Summit got over, nobody got in touch with me. So I want us to remember three important years, year 2000, year 2015, and year 2030. And with those 3 years, the three things which are very important to remember is the word 2000, year 2000 and accountability, year 2015 and accountability, and year 2030 and accountability. What did not happen in year 2000 was that youth never participated. They didn't know what MDGs were. I've been in many parts of the world running MDG meetings, and youth are like, what do you mean MDGs? This is like 2 years ago in Istanbul. JCI has been championing MDGs for a long time. But apart from that, where is the discussion with youth and MDGs and youth partnerships in the implementation of MDGs? So 4 years ago, when we embarked with UN Millennium Campaign on this huge challenge given to us, was that will you facilitate a process by which youth will participate in shaping up the post-2050 development agenda? And of course, the challenges were, as Mitch pointed out, very clear. Will youth participate in the My World survey? Will youth be part of the World We Want platform? And the other challenge, as Vivian pointed out, was will youth who are really marginalized, who don't have access to smartphones and computers in favelas and villages, will that young girl from an indigenous community be part of this process? And that's why when Mitch talked about the 5 million paper ballots, most of these ballots and these votes were brought by young people. Young people participated, not just bringing selfishly their own votes, but they brought the entire constituency. They went to other youth and their peers and brought their issues. They didn't stop there. They went to community members, to elders, to people with disabilities. And Cameroon Divine went to young people with disabilities and asked them what their issues and concerns are. We have images of women, of an adolescent girl sitting with an 85-year-old green-black mother and asking her what your priorities are. So really, the global citizens have spoken. They are speaking every day. The issue is who's listening. So we do have this very important process in front of us, and that's what, yes, the My World survey has concluded with 7 million, but the most important thing is to make sure that everybody sitting in this room retweets the My World Twitter handle, the World We Want Twitter handle, so that we can really link it to the world leaders. And do not be afraid. You should tweet to every single world leader every day. I do that. I don't give a shit. I have nothing to hide. And that's what we want, is we want to create a culture of self-accountability. The accountability with the policy strategy group is accountable to each other. What Mitch talked about, the accountability of 1,000 partners, which we have with each other in the My World survey. And accountability of us. We in the UN system, why are we seen as privileged? We are not. We're supposed to serve the global citizens. And if I now run past through all the amazing creative work which Miro was talking about, year 2030, are we going to have the same conversation, say that, oh, 15 years have passed and youth did not participate? Everything is so fuzzy, we don't know what really happened. There's still, patterns of inequalities and lack of accountabilities, even if we have the smartest technology on the planet. And of course, my dear colleague Holly, who's a champion of the My World Green Survey, making sure that the world is green at that time. So the key words I would like to conclude very quickly, Christina, if you allow me, is that we are in a very important opportunity where we have seen that youth have participated in bringing together their priorities. Every single member sitting here has contributed to the process through the My World or through many different negotiation processes. The major group of children and youth, I don't know if they're here, they've also played a very, very significant role. The second point really is that if youth are speaking, will youth be part of the amplification of the Sustainable Development Goals? So will youth be recognized as partners? Will their partnership be valued? In year 2000, we did not have a youth bulge. We're sitting on our first youth bulge, and Hazami is representing the Secretary General's envoy on Youth's Office, which has been another important milestone. So, year 2015, we're sitting on our first youth bulge, 1.8 billion. We cannot ignore. And the partnership that Vidwin talked about, and within that, the focus of gender inequality is central. So will youth be part of amplification? But most centrally, will youth become important partners? Will youth-led organizations and networks be supported as key partners in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals? Where will that money come from? Who will finance the youth agenda? Where will be the discussion on youth aid architecture or the citizens' architecture? Why is UN Millennium Campaign still struggling to find resources, where it's really being this clear force within the UN system which has reached out to global citizens and brought their voices into this? The third element really is that, really, I've been saying this since the Commonwealth Youth Forum and the World Conference on Youth, youth need to take on charge of becoming monitors. They need to monitor the accountability and its delivery by world leaders, by the mayor, the local leader in that commune. The example you talked about, Mitch, about the mayor in Mexico City. Why not every single mayor be part of ensuring that youth can hold them accountable in making changes in their cities and in their communes? And last not the least, really collectively through youth participation, youth becoming actors in creating awareness and amplifying SDGs, youth implementing and monitoring the SDG framework, really being part of that culture of accountability through the active citizen framework. Because in the heart of active citizens framework or civic engagement is not that you're doing something in your community, but you're really creating that culture of honesty and accountability so that we all can transform and progress collectively. So really, thank you very much for this fantastic session, and I think that is the ultimate aim of what we're trying to achieve. Thank you.